versus Malfurion.
I must protect the wild. Your soul shall be mine.
I like Twilight Drake on 4. I think I tossed the Librarian since I have a Flame Imp already. Looks like maybe a Spiteful Mirror. I definitely have the better 1-drop though. Probably forced to hero power here. Nope, he's just gonna drop Kel'Thuzad. Well, force him to hero power on 3. Maybe I should have thought a little bit more about playing Kobold Librarian this turn, because it would have been a nice turn to get it down, since he already has something to hero power and it would have contested the Prince Kel'Thuzad. But I don't think spending only 1 mana that turn was really that good. Let's just go coin 4 into 4. If this wasn't another Twilight Drake, I probably wouldn't have done that. Like, I wouldn't have been nearly as excited about coining Twilight Drake into Shroom Brewer, especially when I have some pretty heavy cards in my hand. But I think coining a Twilight Drake into a Twilight Drake is pretty reasonable. I have Skull on 5, but no demons, so I think there's a good chance I'm going to Dragon Maw Scorcher that Tar Creeper. Please buff the Tar Creeper, such a big 50-50. Nice. And I also get to kill this guy, so I can have 2 4/1s. Or I can go here and just ignore this and have a 4/6. What does he do against 2 4/1s? Is he gonna hero power again? He could be playing a Dragon Ball Scorcher himself, but I don't think it's super likely, especially since he's opted for Kel'Thuzad over Fire Tree Witch Doctors. That was a pretty reasonable hero power turn. But I can still just kill this on board. Spiteful Summoner for next turn. Probably want to Shroom Brewer this guy. So let's just go Shroom Brewer in this. Really far ahead, but he can Spiteful Summoner before I can. And his Spiteful Summoners are better than mine. Although from this current board state, it's probably pretty arguable if a 10 or an 8 is better here. Because, while the 10 drops are all bigger, they're mostly just stats, other than Mulch Muncher. Whereas 8 drops could be, like, a taunt or something. Oh, I have a weapon in my hand. But it's probably not going to end up being very relevant. I can just play Crowd Roaster here. Doesn't really seem that great, especially compared to a random 8-drop. But if I Crowd Roast to this guy, he can't kill this on board. Probably isn't really super relevant. Let's play a Spiteful Summoner. It's a good 8-drop. I got one of those last game as well. So, do I want to trade at all? 3-4 into a 3-3 seems pretty appealing. I think the rest of this just goes face. He gets a decent attack onto this Vulgar Homunculus, but then he's like pretty dead on board, I think. This is 19 power in play, I think. I mean, I think the better player won that game. We both spent as much mana as we could every turn, and my guys ended up being bigger. Clearly an outplay.
Gul'dan versus Maiev.
None can escape my fury.
Your soul shall be mine.
Let's keep the 2-4, because I can play it on turn 2. And let's all quickly pray together that he's not Quest Rogue. I think I saw him mulligan the leftmost card, which is good for me. Flame Imp over Kobold Librarian because it's bigger and doesn't die to dagger. Thalnos. So, I think I've seen Thalnos and Malygos Rogue before. They didn't really seem that good in Malygos Rogue because it's a Death Rattle minion. Maybe it's just Death Rattle Rogue. Well, if he is Malygos Rogue, it's actually insane that he drew 2 cards off Roll the Bones, because that is not average. These are all terrible. Let's take Unwilling Sacrifice in case he's like big rogue or whatever. I could coin out Skull here, but I think I want to coin out Spiteful Summoner. That is getting up into the Vanish turns though, so maybe it's just not. Like, maybe I'd rather just have a Void Lord in play next turn. But the Void Lord doesn't even deal that much damage, and that's really what I care about at this point.
Unity, precision, perfection.
I guess I'm gonna value trade. Could just go 2-1 in, and then my 3-4 doesn't die to his weapon. But he seems reluctant to use this weapon if he didn't just use it on a 2-1 last turn. Okay, it looks like this is just Big Rogue. But also, I'm not that upset that my Amalgam dies, because I was anticipating getting vanished at some point this game. And I don't particularly want small demons getting vanished. Because I want the Skull to keep pulling Void Lords. I think I'm probably not going to give him a 7/7. Alec here. It's kind of annoying that he can go in here and then in here. If I do this, he's sending 7 and 7 in. That doesn't seem great. Let's 8 him. He has to be really worried about dying because I have Skull in play, which could mean Doomguard's coming out at any turn. But I think this deck plays Deranged Doctor or whatever that card's called. Although it doesn't look like he's currently in a position to really abuse it. I guess that was a reason to kill his guy last turn. So I've only got 5 damage here. Nice, didn't pull this guy. Tap for some good cards, and I guess we're just gonna Demon Bolt one of these. I could go Homunculus and then Unwilling Sacrifice, but I kind of like this Librarian hidden behind taunts because it gets to go face for 2 every turn. I think there's a good chance I'm just gonna get there with Gul'dan this game. It's gonna hit 7 minions. Hero Power does 3 every turn. He's played Ciliax already. Doesn't mind setting that guy to 1 health. There's the Doctor. So I've got 5, 8, 2 off. Well, let's tap for Doomguard. That's lethal. Man, he landed the vial on the mechanical whelp and I just got to ignore it. Turns out Skull of the Minari's pretty OP.
Gul'dan versus Garrosh.
I believe this guy was Rush Warrior earlier. Pretty sure I played him.
Your soul shall be mine.
So I'm gonna keep this 1-2-3 curve, I think. no Baku, so I think I am remembering the correct person. The thing about this curve is I'm never tapping to try to find Spiteful Summoners or Skulls or anything like that. But playing good minions every turn is a pretty good way to win the game. I'm gonna value trade here, so we can't go like bump plus Rabid Worgen. Maybe I should have thought more about playing this instead of Tar Creeper. I think it was better actually, because then I didn't have to trade. And it just does more damage. And I could have value traded here. Seems like Nightmare Amalgam was better last turn in a lot of ways. But oh well. Still in a good spot. Take out his Frothing, keep this guy alive with my heal. So if I don't do this, he can just run over a Tar Creeper, which is pretty annoying. Looks like I'm probably trading into it. And I guess I'll take this value trade because it's just so juicy.
Rush the enemy! Defend Gilneas!
Was that the hit? I guess if he went into Tar Creeper, I could have killed it on board. But I'm somewhat skeptical. I guess I am gonna kill it though, because it's pretty scary.
My blade be thirsty.
Okay, my opponent's aggro deck used hero power to gain 2 armor. I like to see that. Sort of tempted to just play Doomguard here because it looks real good over this guy. But maybe like double trade into this and then Tar Creeper to block here.
So many possibilities.
Let's just see what this gives me. I think this always gets played this turn. Mortal Coil is not great since the Frothing is buffed. The Ectomancy could be sick. Dark Pact is obviously not the pick. Let's take the Ectomancy. It might be a while before it's good, but when it is good, it might be sick. Or maybe I'll regret not having a Mortal Coil. No overkill. He could have used the Eternium River, just like give me a 2-2 in play to overkill. May or may not have been worth it, it's hard to say. Let's go 2-drop plus Twilight Drake, I think. I could go Ziliax for a full clear. Full clear, and I have, what, a 3-2 and a 3-1 in play? Versus trade here, and I basically have a Twilight Drake in play. I think I like having a Twilight Drake in play. Feeding time seems pretty good. Could just Shriek this turn. Seems bad. Definitely don't want to let Akali get another chance at an overkill. Well, unfortunately, his Bloodrazor Death Rattle counters my feeding time play. So I guess I'm playing Ziliax and I guess a Grifta. Nah, I probably just play Voidlord. Especially with this Ectomancy in hand, I think I just play Voidlord. Okay. Could still just play Ectomancy for 3 Voidwalkers, but that's probably not as worth it. How about Feeding Time plus Cobalt Scalebane? I don't really have to play Feeding Time here. I could just go like Twilight Drake, Dude, and then like Grifta, Scalebane, maybe even a Flamea. Using this 4-1 while I can against his potential Whirlwind deck is pretty nice. Okay, I like just trading off the Twilight Drake here. I think I'm pretty far ahead, so I just want to minimize giving him good cards, I think. So let's hit him with that Hot Blood Imp. And Fairy Dragon. Okay, gave him a Fairy Dragon. Hopefully I don't regret dealing 3 damage to myself, but I don't think I will. Uh-oh. It's playing Keleseth, so no Heroic Strike at least. Could have killed my Flame Imp, but it's probably smart not to. Oh. I mean, this is guaranteed to get me some amount of taunts, right? That goes face every time. He conceded because he was dead as fuck. I actually kind of low rolled on the Gul'dan Battlecry, but it was still probably just good enough.